Now it is my honour and privilege to introduce the Scottish Minister for Equalities and Older People, the Right Honourable Christina McKelvie. Born in Glasgow, Christina, who has two sons, studied at the University of St Andrews and has been the MSP for Hamilton Larkhall and Stonehouse since May 2011. She was previously the MSP for Central Scotland and has been chair of the Equalities and Human Rights Committee. We are delighted to have you with us today, Minister, and look forward to hearing you speak.
Thank you so much. I'm going to bring my tea if you don't mind. I've had that lucky and I keep getting a sore throat, so I don't want to miss out any of my words tonight. Rather, thank you so much for that warm welcome. It's always a joy to see you, as you know, and it's always great to meet with people that I've met with over the piece, but to look out and see not just some of our nice male allies here, but all of these powerful women is a joy to be home. And we are here because we're celebrating International Women's Day. We have many events on this week over the peace in Parliament, but out in communities as well. So, and this is just one of them. We're really pleased to be with you. And I want to thank Religions for Peace UK, Women of Faith Network, and Jenny, welcome to your new role, and of course Ravinda for inviting me along. It's great to be here. As Minister for Equalities and Older People, the intersection of gender equality and religion is of great interest to me, and I'm very looking forward to hear Ravinda and Bonnie, who I've met before, who've had some great chats before, on their reflections on that. So I'm not going to take too much of your time because they're really important people have got to speak after me. I just wanted to share maybe some of my thoughts about the challenges that continue to affect women in our society, in our communities, and tell you about some of the vital work that the Scottish Government's doing to tackle that gender inequality. But let me begin by saying that my work has given me many opportunities. I am not at all blind to my privilege that I have being a government minister and being elected, but certainly has allowed me to work with many people and taking on the challenges of leadership and women's rights across Scotland and in some ways globally. I spent a lot of time back and forth to Strasbourg when I was delegate for the Parliament to the Council of Europe. So lots of great events, but lots of good learning and understanding for me as well. So on the one hand, we don't have to look very far at all, especially in politics in Scotland, to see women. There is many of us there. In 2021, we have a Parliament where 45% of Scotland's 129 MSPs are women. We've still got a bit of work to do there. There's still 51% of the population, so we need to make sure that we do a bit of work. But it's absolutely phenomenal because that was a jump from 35% at the last election, which is a huge jump. And on the other hand, you don't need to look very far to see around the globe that women are still not in those places of leadership, and they often attract a heightened level of criticism, especially online. Please do not go look at any of my tweets later on. Look at the first one, don't look at the responses. Lots of people online follow me, not all of them friendly. But it can also be sometimes very difficult to separate what is just the misogyny that you get in these circumstances, and critical comment, because critical comment allows us to analyse, reflect, and maybe change how we're doing things, but these things become intertwined and it's very difficult to separate the both. But the reality remains that for women attaining a high level in a position like mine, or excelling in a role with years of experience under your belt, is no protection from other people's gendered assumptions of you, the unconscious bias that we all face, and everyday sexism that we all face too. We also know that for women, those whose identities intersect with other protected characteristics such as race, religion or disability, there's additional aspects of prejudice to contend with as well. Contemporary research on the role of women in families demonstrates that many of us are still the primary carer for children or elderly parents, or even when we are in paid employment. And I've just come from an event in Parliament where we're celebrating care in all of its forms, and I've just met some of the people who are doing that down there. Disproportionately gendered, disproportionately not valued as much as it should be. But that disproportionate impact has an impact on us all, and COVID was an example of that. It had a huge impact on women's lives. It revealed stark inequalities, both clearly than ever, I think, that we've seen before. It showed beyond a doubt the struggle for gender equality, whether in the workplace or in the home, is still a fight we have to win. I'm therefore extremely proud that gender equality is at the heart of our Scottish Government's vision for a fairer Scotland. Believe me, in our leadership competition that's going on right now, that's the questions I'm asking the three candidates. From my point of view, if you're going to lead Scotland, then the women need to be at the table. I'm extremely proud, as I said, and I want a Scotland where women and girls feel empowered to access economic resources and make decisions for themselves. It's a Scotland where women can live their lives free from all forms of violence, abuse and harassment. Sadly, we still see too much of that. But it's also a vision. It's a vision where, we have a long road ahead of us, but I think with determination we're going to get there. So I think I should tell you what we've done so far. As part of our extensive gender equality work, we have established the Gender Equality Task Force in Education and Learning. That's starting at the earliest points in a young woman's life. We've also established the Fairer Scotland for Women Gender Pay Gap Action Plan, and we're seeing real progress being made on that just now, just in the past few months we've seen that progress. We're also developing plans to incorporate the UN Convention for the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women and Girls into Scots law in our Human Rights Bill that we're working on right now. Myself and Captech Shore are also working on that. Happy to share with you information if you want to hear more about that. And we're also implementing the recommendations for the First Minister's National Advisory Council for Women and Girls. There's nowhere else in the world where a President, a Prime Minister or a First Minister has a National Advisory Council for Women and Girls, who I'm telling you are not afraid to say how it is, and they've been very, very bold with their actions for us. And we also established a Scottish Government Directorate for Equality, Inclusion and Human Rights to ensure continued focus on this work, and that was a recommendation from the First Advisory Council. So taking on board the ideas that they've come up with, the recommendations that they've given us, and bringing them into real life. These long-term ambitions are real commitments, but they're foundations of many practical and immediate actions that touch the everyday lives of women now. Through collaborative work on period products and free provisions, Scotland Act 2021, I'm always really proud when I talk about this. Access to free period products is now enshrined in law for anyone who needs them, and we don't need to look far in the world to see where that inequality stops girls from going to school. And we've still got work to do to make sure that happens as well. Hopefully Scotland has shown the way on that one, and that was a really excellent piece of cross-party work by women to bring that to our Parliament. So shows you the benefit of having us in there. In August 2021, all local authorities have been offering eligible children 1,140 hours of funded early learning and childcare. Well, we spoke to women about 8 years ago about what do you need to thrive in your environment, in your workplace, in your career, in your entrepreneurship. What do you need? They said good quality childcare. And that's where we are with that now, and we know how valuable that's been. And we will invest £100 million over the next 3 years to support frontline services and focus on prevention of violence against women and girls from school onwards, and that's the work I'm involved in with our Equally Safe Joint Board. Equally safe in schools, equally safe in the workplace, equally safe in society. The importance of this work in Scotland Government's commitment cannot be overstated, I think. I think it's great working very closely with stakeholders. I don't do any policy development, but other real people at the table. The civil servants will tell you that. Yeah. I don't do any of that work at all, because I think I need people who are having that lived and living experience every day in their lives at the table, helping us make those decisions. And that's why our decisions, when we made them, become transformational, and the real point and the real focus of International Women's Day this year is about breaking the bias. So breaking that bias allows us to tackle that discrimination with the acts that we have. And it's why it's really encouraging for me to be here tonight with you all. Voices, not just your voices, your smiles, your reflections, but your activism, and bringing all that together. Determined, capable, action-orientated women all in the one room. My goodness, we're a force to be reckoned with. But it is a sad truth, I think, that religion has often been misused as a patriarchal system to silence women's voices and control their lives, but ultimately that's not succeeded. I just need to look out into this room to see that. So well done, but we've still got work to do. But women, so many women from all faiths are today finding their voices within their traditions, their communities and their scriptures. They are finding inspiration and power within their faith to bring about change. In doing this, they are exercising true leadership. They are taking the promise and the vision of equality, which is so foundational in the spiritual traditions of the world, and are applying it to our everyday lives, and we thank you for it. But in reality, this is what lasting transformation, change in women's leadership looks like. It starts at the ground level and it grows. It's organic. You put your roots, plant your seeds, put your roots down and grow it from there. And we know that there are people, systems and aspects of culture which inhibit the growth of gender equality. But you know, when we do plant those seeds, it takes a lot to stop us from growing. There are people who still refuse to recognise women's equality, and that's why we still need International Women's Day. They don't recognise our freedoms, or they unconsciously feel threatened by our voices, or fail to take us seriously. Looking at the women in this room, well, that's a big mistake, isn't it? Absolutely. So I encourage you all, please keep speaking up, speaking out, using your experience, your everyday lived experience, particularly when it comes to your faith and your traditions. It's not easy. Try to be a woman in politics. We need a lot of faith sometimes. But we draw on that from you and the work that you do. So keep sowing those seeds for change, because your voices matter and your leadership is really powerful. So thank you so much for having me tonight. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'll go shut up now and let the real inspirational people come in and talk to you about their events tonight. Thank you so much.